Good morning. Give this thing a minute. I'm so slow. Good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Stacy. This is Loving My Veteran and Walking in My Shoes this morning. Um, Today we're gonna talk about caregiver versus partner. I think that it's the second part in the series that we did. We started it yesterday. I have put the printables. There's some files on the group. If you want to go there and print them out. I also, if anybody who subscribes to our website, I sent them out last night. I took some of the lines out that where you would do the exercises, just because it wouldn't fit in the blog space correctly, but it was there. If you need them from another means, just message us and we'll be happy to send them to you. Good morning, Sunny. Look, we got all these people on here. I got Stephanie and Sunny and Kim and Marianne. Glad you're back from wherever you have been, ma'am, who's taking care of the world. A lot of things coming up. I cannot, I know that tomorrow is New Year's Eve. We will not be here tomorrow or Friday, kind of get the new year finished. But so much coming up that next week when we go into January, in our first full week of January. Loving My Veteran has grown because of you and this community, and I'm so grateful. So we have a lot coming up, so I'm just going to run by what's going on. Of course, every Monday through Friday, we'll do Walking in My Shoes from 9 to 9:30. That's live here where we can interact a little bit. We already have the calendar done for next month. So the daily calendar is also in the group. You can download that printable. It is there for you. At 10 o'clock, we're going to do Girl Chat, and it's going to be three or four of us sitting together. And we're going to talk about the upcoming week and what's going on. And it's more like a coffee conversation type thing. We will do that for you at 10 o'clock in the morning. Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Don't forget, we have the book club. We're doing Perfect Mess by Lisa Harper. If you've not gotten it, you need to get it and get it there. It is also available on Kindle. And we will be doing that by Zoom. I'll put that link out. That will be at 10 a.m. At 3 on Tuesdays, Elise is going to do Zoom for us at 3 p.m. All these are Eastern time. She's going to do the midweek break, so you have some time to get together if you're having just stuff you need to talk about. Elise will be there. I'll be there when I can. But Elisa, who's always there, is going to host that for us. Wednesday, we have Miss Stephanie coming on, and she's gonna do Wellness Wednesday. That's at 6:30 p.m. She's gonna give a little insight for how we're gonna maintain our own physical, mental, emotional wellness, and she'll do that every Wednesday. Thursday, we do Let's Talk. Great Zoom meeting where we bring everybody together. That's on Thursdays at 7 p.m. And Fridays, we've already taped the first one. I'm super excited. I really want to post it today, but I won't. We're doing Vet Connect, and that's where I interview a veteran, and we kind of get some perspective from them. So that's all coming up. Please, if you have not, this is a very deep to my heart episode. Behind the Service podcast, my dear friends over there, Libby, Aaron, and Shauna, interviewed one of my dearest friends, Jeannie Lutz, with Let's to Live Foundation. And she talks honestly about suicide. Her son Johnny committed suicide, who was a veteran, and her younger son Justin found him. And so, like within 18 months, Justin committed suicide. So she lost both of her sons to suicide. And it is empowering what she has done in spite of losing all of them. So they are on Behind the Service podcast. Please go over and check them out as well. Okay, so today we're going to talk about stepping in and out of these roles, caregiver versus partner. I will tell you, this is a lot from my personal experiences, and I think that we become that caregiver, we become that nurturer, we become that person, and we think we're doing the right thing, and we are a lot of times. We are. I'm not discrediting what we do, but when we become such this caregiver type mommy person, I've heard comments from veterans. I need a wife, not a mother. I need a wife, not a nurse. we take away so much independence. And what happens is it's a spiraling effect. Okay. So we take away these independence from them because um, we want their help. We want to get the laundry done. We want to get the dishes done. We want to get the grass cut. We want them to be a functioning part of our household. And it just becomes easier sometimes to say, let me do it. I got this. Let me handle it. I don't want you to trigger today. You're having a moment. Let me just do it. And so it becomes habit for us to do that. And it becomes habit for us, them to allow us to do that. And then when we're overwhelmed, we become resentful. And when we take away their independence, they become resentful. So now instead of having a loving, happy marriage and relationship based on why you fell in love in the beginning, you have a relationship that is full of resent and full of this anger, and it just spirals out of control. And then we get to the point we feel like we're drowning and we can't fix that. So Miss Nakia last night or early this morning posted on the group on her points to ponder about her giving Richard a boundaries thing where she printed out the boundaries and she said, look, if you've gone down this dark place, that's you. I'll meet you to mend the fence, but where you are is you. You've got to take the initiative to walk back. And when she made those comments to him in setting that boundaries, she stepped out of the caregiver enabler role and went back to the wife who said, I love you, maybe. I love you, but I don't like you very much right now. And these are not going to be allowed. And so when she did that, she stepped out of that caregiver role and she stepped into the role of partner. On the printables, I used an analogy about caregiver versus partner. And this is a pretty, I made it simple. Y'all know, and it's not a secret, many of our veterans have a hard time sleeping, and Carl doesn't sleep well at night, okay? He has a lot going on in his head. He may have been triggered. He uses that time to unwind. When I got sick, the doctor gave him a list of things, look, you got to be careful and watch for this and that and this. So he has this fear that he goes to sleep, he can't protect me. And so he's up all night, not getting good sleep. So when he wakes up in the morning, he's like crabby and tired and hasn't gotten much sleep. So I used to say to him, did you sleep last night? And his answer was on and off or not at all. And I felt guilty for that. I felt bad. I was like, but it's because of me. Well, it wasn't because of me. Okay? It wasn't because of me. I can't fix that. I can't make you go to sleep. I can't put you like a little baby, wrap you up in a little swaddle you and rock you to sleep. So at that point, I had to be his partner. I had to show him empathy and love and like, I'm really sorry and I love you and I'm sorry you're going through this. I couldn't be his caregiver at that point. I had to be the partner that said, I'm sorry you're going through a rough time. I'm sorry you can't sleep. I love you very much. Supportive, understanding, but I can't fix that. The other analogy I use, which I think is pretty simple and straightforward, is going to a restaurant. Sorry. So we go to a restaurant with our family and friends and remember, for these veterans, PTSD sometimes is like they're defective and they don't really want to share with the whole world that they have PTSD. So you're going out to a restaurant with family and friends. Well, we already know that they can't have their back to a door or to a window, right? We know that's going to trigger them. So we're going to a restaurant with our family and friends. We walk in and I choose the table, okay? I'm the one, good morning, I'm the one who chooses the table when we're with family and friends. Hey, can we sit over there? Because I've scoped it out and I know, right, that we have to have a place that seats right. And then as we walk to the table, I make the comment, Carl and I are going to sit here. Right? And that's a little thing, but that's becoming into that caregiver role. I know it's going to trigger him. I don't want to have him explain his whys, and I don't want him in a moment. Okay? So by making that step, I step from the partner to the caregiver. And then as we sit down and we order our food and he does all of his manly things, pulls out the chair and all the great things, and that now we're back to being partners and we're having dinner. So it's learning to make those steps in and out of these roles and where they fit and not taking stuff away from them. The other thing I think that happens is that we get ourselves so wrapped up in not triggering, not letting them have a date. Okay, ladies, let me just put it this way. There is nothing you can do about their dates. There is nothing you can do about their dates. I'm going to put that out there again. At that point, you will be in that day that they are having a date, or that weeks that they're having a date. Yeah, we rarely eat out too, sister. Because when they're having a date, you have to be in a dual role, because sometimes they're in a place where they don't function well. Sometimes when that date appears, they're stuck in their head or they're not doing whatever. But you also have to be loving and supportive. So you have to learn at that point to be the partner and the caregiver. So there are times that we do this back and forth and in and out of roles. So one of the exercises that I asked everybody to do is to see that there's hope. And I think that becomes where we feel sometimes we get trapped and we feel hopeless and we feel like, why am I here? I'm his nurse. I'm the one who does all the stuff around the house. I'm the one who takes total accountability. I'm the one who does. I'm the one who does. I'm the one who does. And we feel drowned. So how do you get out of that? How do you get your mind past the anger and the resentment that's built up over time just because of the roles we're assuming? I want everybody, and it's on the printables. It gives you even a space to write it out. Go back and think about why you fell in love with them. Okay? I said this yesterday. We didn't take out an ad that says, wanted, looking for a relationship with somebody with PTSD, someone who triggers, someone who says hateful things, someone who gets explosive. Yeah, we didn't take out that ad for that. Okay? That isn't why it isn't like we rescued the puppy that was ate up with the fleas off the side of the road. Okay? We fell in love with them. So write that down. That's your starting point. That's the first point that you're going to remember a life without the anger and the bitterness. Write it down. I encourage you to write it down, and it will make sense to you as we go forward. The very next thing is I did, and I got it from the DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. It is a medical manual. There are 8 points on there, 8, that list PTSD. And if they have one of these 8 topics, one thing in these 8 topics, one, and it lasts for 2 or more months, they're diagnosed with PTSD. It also lists just the regular signs and symptoms we know. Okay, so that is going to be really important. So in the second exercise, you write down where you're angry at this point. What do you see your life at now? Well, I see me being the one who does all the laundry because he doesn't do this. And I see me doing this and me being the one who takes care of the kids. But why? Why are you taking care of the kids and not him helping you? Why are you doing the only stuff around the house and him not helping you? Why are you doing the whys? Okay, that's your step 2. Then, this is the thing, you take that list and you compare it to the symptoms, good morning Michelle, of the PTSD. Now you're going to say, oh, the outburst. I can't deal with the outburst, but the outbursts are PTSD. Okay? Girl, I do too. I have like stacks of journals. That's funny she says that. Okay? So you take these lists of what you're angry about, you match it up to the symptoms of the PTSD, and guess what? Now you know where to direct your anger. We can work on dealing with the symptoms of the PTSD and how to navigate through those, and we will together. We'll work through those. But you're going to realize where your anger should be focused. Now, granted, I will be the first one to tell you, we tend to, and they tend to, use PTSD as a crutch. Okay? We tend to, and they tend to, use PTSD as a crutch or an excuse. So when we allow, and allow is such a bad word, but it is the only word I can come up with at this moment. When we allow all of this to come in, and don't do what Nakia did and write out her, this is my boundary, but when we allow this into our boundary, and our excuse becomes, well, I know he has to sit there and do this, and I can't do anything because I'm walking on eggshells because I don't want to trigger him. Right? So we walk on these eggshells because we don't want to trigger him. Well, then we never say what we mean, so then we lose communication, and when we lose communication, we lose the relationship. That's just the truth. When we lose the communication, we lose the relationship. So we walk around on these eggshells like, oh, well, we're destined to have this because it's the PTSD. Nope. A lot of what we go through is the relationship issues. And when we do that, we're doing exactly what Michelle says. We're enabling this behavior because we've taken a lot away from them, because we walk on eggshells and we don't confront things. I'm not saying you can't take a confrontational person and another confrontational person and go at it, or you're just going to butt heads. There are ways to communicate and navigate through this, and we will talk about these going forward, and there will be a lot more information in the group and on the websites about how you can navigate through these. And you also have to remember, exactly what Nakia said, you also have to remember that while we're going through this, take time and smell the roses. Y'all think I'm kidding about my victory wall. No, I'm not. You start taking time and writing out the good moments. Literally, I have a stack. I'm telling you, I have other notes on too, but I have a stack, little cards here, right? I write my victories on them every day. Because negativity breeds negativity. So when we're in this caregiver role and we're feeling angry, overwhelmed, enraged, bitter, because now we have to do this and we have to do this and we have to do this, and we hear it and we see it all the time. Well, I do everything for him. Well, hello. I did too in the beginning, but that was part of the problem. Okay? It was part of the problem. When you start getting into negativity, negativity breeds negativity faster than mold up in your refrigerator. Okay, when your little food gets fungusy, negativity breeds negativity faster than any germ in a petri dish. It does. It collects. It spreads. It's horrible. Okay, so it breeds it. When you're negative and you're carrying that negative attitude into this because you feel overwhelmed as the caregiver and you don't remember the love, the feeling of love goes away and the negativity sets in and the bitterness sets in and the anger sets in and the resentment sets in. So when you start writing your victories, your little victories, and then all of a sudden you realize that on your victory cards or your victory wall, or your Post-it notes, whatever you're doing, your journal, and you start writing them out. Like if I had a journal for my victories, I'd be in a binder that's probably 9 inches thick at this point because we have victories every single day. We have victories every single day. Do we have bad moments every day? Yes, we do. But we have victories every single day. And when you focus on the victories, now you have positivity. So when you learn to stop, to how to navigate back and forth between the role and be the partner, good morning, Leah, and be the partner first, and step into the caregiver role when you have to, your resentment is going to go way down, because I assure you, and I know she's on it, if Nakia had not done that and had not given those boundaries to Richard early on, where they developed a loving relationship, where, as her words were, he became my Richard at that point, and we started to work through it. If that didn't happen and she stayed in this role where she walked on eggshells and was getting the abuse and was getting this and didn't communicate and didn't say, you're accountable for your stuff, not me. You're accountable. Doesn't mean you can't help them through it. That's not what I'm saying. But some things they're accountable for. I can't make Carl sleep. He's accountable for that. That is on him. I can't take a date away from him. That is on him. I can't do that. Okay, so that goes back to our caregiver partner thing. I can love him through those moments, but I can't take those away. Had she not have done that with Richard, as Richard's health declined and she had to become more of a caregiver, she is a caregiver out of love. She is a caregiver out of love. She does it now, not with resentment. She does it now with love. And that's the difference. You have to go back to love first. Why did you fall in love with them? You have to set these rules and step out. We're not necessarily caregivers all the time. Do you realize that 90% of the relationship issues we have with our PTSD veterans are truly that? They're relationship issues and not PTSD issues? 90% of them. Because we failed to communicate. And yes, is communication difficult with somebody with PTSD? Yeah. There are some flat out things, and that's in there, that you have to remember, and I only put the basics in there, that you have to remember going in. That changes the way you communicate with them some, because communicating with somebody with PTSD is very different. Okay? It is very different. So when you learn that difference, right? Right, I can unpack stuff for him and therapy, but he's the one who has to work on it. That difference, okay, that difference in the way we communicate will allow us to fix our communication. And I'm telling you, 90% of it is communication. It's not PTSD. And part of it is we communicate in a way that triggers the PTSD. We do. I yell, hello. When I yell, we have PTSD explosions. I'm just telling you. I know that. And I have faults like everybody else. And we go forward and we go backwards. But I'm telling you this, right? If you divorced or incarcerated. Yeah, if you didn't set them boundaries, you would be. and that's what happens. But we have to go to these communications, and you have to learn to talk to them. Okay, so that's just something that we have to work on, and then we can learn to communicate. And when we learn to communicate, we find an effective way to say, I'm overwhelmed. I love you, and I understand that playing a video game might help distract you from what's going on, and that you're frustrated and you want to kill somebody. Okay, and so you're playing like Grand Theft Auto or whatever it is you're playing so you can kill them and not real people. But let me tell you, if you don't get your ass off that TV and stop playing that video game, you ain't going to have to worry about it, because I'm going to kill you. I mean, that's how we feel, right? I'm not lying. That's how we feel. But learning to communicate that is important. Learning to communicate that becomes important. And that will help us step out of these roles. We have taken on, I did, I know most of us do, We've taken on a role of caregiver in places we don't have to. And that becomes enabling. And that creates anger, resentment, bitterness, rage, hate, and we forget the love. I know that sounds like it's simple. It's not simple. It's a long process. I am not, and I will be the first to tell you, I'm not a counselor. I'm not a professional. I'm just telling you what works for us and what I've had to find out the hard way. It's called the School of Hard Knocks. Been there, done that. I empower myself with people who've been there, done this, and we talk about it. And then I have no filter on it, and I'm afraid of nothing, so I just spit it out there. All right? I just put it out there because I'm going to be blatantly raw and honest. This is not going to be easy. All right? I'm going to tell you right now. In her thing, Nakia put that she had bought a case of Vienna sausages. So I suggest that before we get too busy into this, everybody buys your Vienna sausages because I'm not cooking, cleaning, or doing another thing for you. Right? I mean, that's just the way it is. I remember with my ex-husband and the dirty socks. I know y'all heard that analogy. I stepped over them bad boys and sprayed him with Febreze every day. And one day he wanted a pair of socks, and he said, "I don't have any socks in my drawer." Right? Where are my socks? I'm like, I picked them right up off the floor, the most crusty two I could find. I said, "They're right here." "Well, why aren't they washed?" "Because I don't wash clothes off the floor. I wash clothes out of the hamper." Right? He had to go to work with the crusty socks on his feet. And guess what? He started, before he put the crusty socks on, or maybe it was right after, he scooped up all them socks off the floor and threw them in the hamper, and I never picked up another sock off the floor again. Hello? That's where we got to get. She told Richard, "You going to learn to live by my list that I made out here, or you're going to have a whole lot of Vienna sausages because I'm not your mama. I'm not your nurse. I'm not your maid. I'm your wife and I'm your partner, and we'll go through it together and we'll work through things together, but I am not that." And that's where we're going to be. That's where all of us are going to be. That's where we're all going to be because we're stronger together. And because on these days that we feel like we cannot get any further, that's what we're here for. Every 3 months, I like this. Man, because every 3 months I have an explosion to vent. Girl, I have one like every 3 hours. But I've learned, thank you God, that I can vent to Michelle and Roxy, who are really used, and Sunny and Alex, they're really used to me like calling, venting, and crying. So they're kind of good with that. But that's what we're here for. We can vent because we do get frustrated. We do get overwhelmed. We do get angry. And if I'm going to tell you that there is never a time that I'm mad at him, Michelle will tell you I'm lying. Okay? Look, we have come up with ways to put pillows over their head. No, I'm not doing it, but because I've watched too much CSI and Patikia comes in and people would know I killed him. But you can't tell me that you haven't had that moment when you've wanted to strangle them or pop their head off. We've all had it. And I'm sure they've had that moment about us. Right? And that's a relationship deal. But a lot of this comes from us not stepping out of that role, taking away their independence, taking away their self-dignity, taking away their respect, making them accountable for who they are. Remember, PTSD already makes you feel unworthy. It's a symptom. It's one of the things that the DSM says. If you have low self-esteem or feeling of self-worth, you have PTSD if you've had it for more than 2 months. Okay, so we know that. We know that. We already know that. So when you take everything away and you lower that self-esteem, right? No, honey, I yell at him every day, every 3 hours. It's like a clockwork. I'll set my timer on my thing so I can yell at him. It's good. But when they already have low self-esteem, right? And we take everything away, what does it do to their self-esteem? It spirals it further downward. And when it spirals further downward and they do less because they don't feel like they can do anything right, then what do? We do more, and we become bigger caretaker instead of the partner. And things spiral. And we can't get out of that spiral till we decide to put the brakes on and say, This is how we're going to go forward. This is what we're going to do to go forward. This is what we're going to do to go forward. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to do it every day. And we're going to step back into that role when we shouldn't. We're going to yell at times when we shouldn't. We're going to cross that line when we shouldn't. We're going to say things that we shouldn't because we're human. Because we're human. And that's what humans do. So I really want everybody to take from this that you're here because you love them. We're moving forward because we love them. Unpack your bags. Put your accountability back where it belongs. Give him back some of his independence. Give him, it may not be on the time frame you want. If part of the role that he's going to have is going to be to cut the grass, put it back on him. He may not cut it at 6 o'clock in the morning like you want to cut. Girl, I'm telling y'all, Marianne, y'all please pray for her because she's a saint down here. Marianne and all of her stuff with her PTSD husband and stuff, she goes out and takes meals to homeless veterans, and right now she has a homeless family living in her house. So y'all pray for this woman because she is a saint. I just want to tell you. And yes, no, pillows do not work well, Michelle. They leave petechia in the eyes, and then they'll know what happened. Just saying. Start giving back the roles. Start defining where we are. Start being in that place. And when you do, start stepping out of the caregiver role. Become the partner. And they're not going to accept it really well in the beginning because they're not used to it. They're not used to you being in love with them like you were in the beginning. They're not used to it. So take a step back. Just a warning for everybody. We're about done. Wrap this up. Don't forget that printable is there if you need it. The worksheet is there. There's a lot more detail in there than you can imagine. I'm going to do a communication one as well. I'm going to also have printables for every topic in the month of January that will start appearing on the group page and on the website. Please do not forget, tomorrow is New Year's Eve. Every Yahoo around will be buying fireworks, and I live in the way country, so people that hear me shooting their guns in the air at some random time at night, just remember what goes up must come down. So don't be standing out there with the world watching them shoot the guns, because that bullet does come down. As an EMS provider, I can tell you there have been multiple shootings from whatever. Connie, it's on our group, Loving My Veteran Caregiver group. If you click on the top of the Facebook page, it'll take you there. I can put you right in the group, and it's a printable file. Under files, you can print it right out. There's a lot of printable files in there, and there'll be a whole lot more. So that is there. Yeah, and communication, Marion says you have to tell him that she's frustrated and it's not him. There are times we get frustrated and it's not them, and we just have to tell them that. So, but that's kind of where we are. Just don't forget that. Y'all have a blessed new year. Maybe 2021 will be different than 2020. I'm not sure if I want to say that because I'm not sure if it's going to be different positively or negatively. So I'm just happy with today. I'm going to live in the moment and deal with my moment today, and we'll deal with tomorrow when it arises. Y'all have a blessed new year. I will see y'all on Monday. I'm sure I'll pop in and do some lives. A lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Do not forget, please, to go listen to my friends at Behind the Service podcast and their interview with my dear friend Jeannie Lutz, who I cannot tell you how much I adore that woman. And come early next week. We're going to share a partnership, a great partnership announcement. We're working with an amazing group of people, Circle of Arms, and they are amazing as far as mental health goes and helping us be educated. Y'all have a blessed day, a blessed and happy New Year. Don't forget black-eyed peas and collard greens. And for those of you who don't eat collard greens, I'll get you a little recipe out in the newsletter because collard greens, if you eat collard greens, the thing is that you'll get money. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm fixing to leave here and run up to the store and buy every collard green known to man. All right. I'm gonna buy every collard green known to man. I'm gonna eat them all because I think we need the money. And even told Carl he's got to eat a little black eyed peas, which are not my favorite, but it brings you luck. So we're eating black eyed peas and collard greens tomorrow or on the first. So I'll send y'all that little recipe. Have a blessed New Year. I'm Stacy. We're living my better, and this has been Walking in My Shoes. Have a great day.